Can biology give us morality? Think of a bloodthirsty dictator killing and raping his way across the map to build the largest land empire ever. If you want to talk about a selfish gene, one man towers above all others as the most successful reproducer ever known. Genghis Khan. Today, the Trans-Siberian Railway stretches from Beijing to Moscow, traversing the untamed territories that were once part of Genghis Khan's mighty empire. It was an empire founded on 50 years of world war. 800 years later, many Mongols still revere Genghis Khan as a national hero. But history tells a very different story. Some 40 million people lost their lives to the fearsome warrior and his armies. Butchery and brutality extended the conquered territories to a size never before seen. For Genghis Khan and his armies, it was survival of the fittest. And it's because of mass rape that Genghis Khan's genes live on today. Recent genetic studies suggest Genghis Khan is the ancestor of 8% of people in Mongolia and across huge parts of Asia, making him the male ancestor to a whopping 1 in 200 people on Earth today. After 800 years, that's a very successful gene.
8% of men living now in the territory from Pacific Ocean to Caspian Sea carry special cluster genes. We call Genghis Khan cluster genes. In the globe, maybe 60 million people, we say, could carry the Genghis Khan's gene, or 0.5% of men around the world.
It's horrible to think, but rape spread his genes. Leading new atheist Sam Harris argues against rape, but he believes that biology can still provide a solid foundation for morality.
The idea that morality is based on just what people ought to do or should do, and it's this prescription from on high, kind of an authority-based prescription, is just to take the template given to us by Judeo-Christian religion. I don't see. Let's completely forget we ever heard the word morality. I mean, there's just no. We're just in this universe together, and we have never. No one has ever thought about morality as something to talk about or worry about, or much less worry about its status vis-a-vis truth. And let's just figure out how to be as happy or as miserable as possible.
In the contemporary world, there is a desperate scrabble to find a base for morality that's down here and in there. Because for centuries, God has been the base. And now people say, well, there is no God, so we have to find it in evolution, we have to find it in genetics, and so on. And none of those work, for the very simple reason that if you try to find a base for morality in biology, you can find any morality you like. You can go with Darwin, who was a kindly man and watched ants cooperate, and say that's a basis for altruism. Or you can go with Spencer and see nature red in tooth and claw and the struggle of the survival of the fittest. We know what's happened, but that's been applied morally. It's becoming very evident that without the God dimension, without the vertical dimension, you don't find a base for morality.
Build a morality based on Darwinianism is a very scary, you could say we have that, we've seen it. It's called eugenics. You know, you saw the Nazis did this. So, of course, they would vehemently argue against it, but I think you've got to say there's some truth to that.
If you look at the history of ethics, there are massive debates. Is ethics about the individual or about the group? How do we begin to calibrate rightness and wrongness? And what I see Harris doing, in effect, is taking science and almost fitting in what he thinks is right with science, and then saying, hey, science has proved this. It's all about an accommodation of Harris's existing moral beliefs with a very idiosyncratic take on the sciences. I'm sure he finds it persuasive. I don't, and I've yet to meet anybody else who thinks it is.
Face toward the rising sun, a giant statue of Genghis Khan on horseback is a dazzling yet chilling reminder of the conqueror who once ruled these lands. Genghis Khan's genes survived so well because of mass rape and mass violence. Biologically, he is the most successful person to have ever lived. But was this the most moral life ever lived?
I spent quite a bit of my life in Russia because I've been interested in seeing the systematic effect of atheism as the core of an ideology, the communist ideology, and its effect upon nations. And it's been very interesting how many leading Russian intellectuals have said to me, we thought we could retain a value of human beings and get rid of God, and we discovered we couldn't. And Alexander Solzhenitsyn, in his very famous speech to an American university, said, if I am asked why 100 million of my fellow citizens perished, I would have to answer, we have forgotten God. So that connection between rejecting God and devaluing human beings, and therefore a vast amount of moral evil, is something I believe we've got to take very seriously indeed.
It's not good enough to say, look, for scientific reasons, we ought to be nicer to other people. We need to be inspired and enabled. And it seems to me without a doctrine of the transformative power of divine grace, we're locked into our selfishness and we can't break free from it.
We all want to live in a world where life is valued and tyranny is condemned. But science falls short of providing a solid base for morality, and many scientists understand this. Is it possible that our deep intuitions of right and wrong are actually a clue that God exists? What do you think?